Hello and welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome back to another match reaction, another win, back-to-back wins for Watford, back-to-back 3-2 wins for Watford. A really important win again, as is every game in the Championship, or every game we watch Watford play, but particularly this one, going into an international break of 2 weeks. It was so important we didn't go into those 2 weeks with a loss. And didn't go into those 2 weeks with a poor performance. And I don't think, again, it was a fantastic performance, but it was a solid performance and one that showed real character, particularly going down 2-1. We came back into the game through Choose the Kong, and then obviously the penalty from Ismail Assar, which I expected Troy to take, and I'll touch on that a little bit later on in the match reaction. But before we do get into the video, guys, if you do enjoy, then please leave a like if you enjoy these match reactions. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18. There's plenty more content coming up over the international break. We've got some podcasts in line to record, and also some content when we come back and the football's back, because it's going to be a busy Christmas period for Watford. And don't forget to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And in the live chat, if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this maybe a couple of hours later, or even a day after, then do let me know in the comment section below what you make of the video and also what you made of the game today. I'll tell you what, we'll start with the lineups. Now, Vladimir Ivic made 3 changes from Wednesday night against Stoke City. Truce Kong, James Garner and Gray came in for Wilmot, Chalobah and João Pedro, respectively. In terms of the lineup, I was pretty happy with it. I was a little bit surprised to see Ben Wilmot not included in the squad overall. Hughesy had picked up a knock, which meant he wasn't involved too. Both players were at the game. They were watching from the sidelines. But yeah, bit of an odd one regarding Wilmot. I'd imagine it's just rotation with him, because obviously with the 46-game Championship season, you've got Carabao Cup, you've got FA Cup as well. You're going to have to rotate the squad, and it's really important that we do that. Just surprised it wasn't on the bench, really, but we've got so much depth. You even look at the bench, the quality: Bachmann, Ngakia, Deeney, João Pedro, Chalobah, Keena, Sirialta. You know, there's a lot of quality in this Watford squad, and that was again highlighted today with Vladimir Ivic's selection. In terms of Garner coming back in, I was happy with that, because he's a bit more progressive, I think, than Chalobah, and that's nothing against Chalobah, but maybe something we've lacked in the last few games is someone who can maybe move forward with the ball a bit more and look to play forward more often. And I think, to be fair to James Garner, I've seen him play better, but he was trying to play forward balls. There was a really good flick in the first half, towards the end of the first half. And yeah, I thought he looked comfortable on the ball. And then obviously great to see him back in and get, what was it, probably 70 minutes under his belt, particularly after being out for so long. And the first big injury for him in his career. He doesn't really pick up a lot of injuries, but great to see Andre Gray back in the starting lineup. We'll talk about the first half first of all. It was 0-0. And Watford didn't really threaten, really. I mean, there was maybe one chance of Cleverley in the first half that I can remember, but you know, Watford have a tendency to pass the ball really well. We'll pass it from each side to the other, from Kiko to Sema, through Capoue. But often we lack a little bit of cutting edge going forward. And I think the first half really, again, epitomised that. We'd often play the ball around and not really do a lot with it, which I think is probably the big problem at the moment, is we're lacking a little bit of creativity going forward in certain parts of the game. I don't think there's been one game so far where we've been brilliant attacking from the off, but we grew into the game in the second half. And to be fair, if we actually talk about the second half, 5 goals in it. And obviously we got the first one through Andre Gray. And you know what? Let's just say Ken Sema, what a man. What a play he's been for us this season. I don't think anyone can argue when people say he's been our player of the season so far down that left-hand side. At left wing back, he's made that spot his own. He has been phenomenal. Really, really impressive, Ken Sema. He was out on loan at Udinese last season. I think actually he's come into Watford with a clean slate, and he's really stepped up. You know, he was in and out of the team under Javi. Didn't really get a great run in the side, but I think Vladimir Ivic has put his trust in him. And we were maybe a little bit conscious as Watford fans when Pervis Estupiñán obviously left the club to go to Villarreal, who was going to take over in that left wing back spot. And Ken Sema has been fantastic. And he rightly so. He's getting a lot of praise on Twitter, a lot of lovely messages to him, which he acknowledged in the tweet tonight. And he obviously set up the first goal pretty much. The great switcher play from Capoue. Brilliant touch out of his feet from Ken, and it came across to Andre. And again, impact. Andre Gray, right place at the right time. And he had to put it away. People say, oh, it's an easy finish, but he had to put it away, and that's what you get with Andre Gray. I think particularly in the Championship, if he gets in those positions a lot more often in and around the 18-yard box, then I think he'll get quite a few goals for us. And that was, again, a brilliant move. Then, obviously, Coventry replied, within the space of 2 minutes, a freak goal which went past Foster. The lad, I think it was Hamer, took the free kick. Probably the smallest player on the pitch. Took the free kick and lobbed the header over Ben Foster. It was a freak goal. I mean, the argument is Foster was probably a little bit off his line, but I'm not going to sit here and criticise Ben, because how many times this season has he pulled off big saves, or how many times this season since he's been at Watford has he pulled off some massive saves. So these things happen. We've come away with a win. I'm sure it'll be forgotten about. Will be interesting to see Ben's vlog when it's released, and his angle of the goal. It just felt like he rushed out to the 6-yard box, and his position was slightly too far forward, which ultimately meant there was space in behind him to be lobbed. And to be fair, I don't know if the fella meant it. It didn't look like he did, really. And actually, Coventry's second goal, the first one came from another set piece. The second balls is we've got to improve on it. Another area we've got to improve on defensively is one long ball. It was similar to Stoke. Coventry just launched the ball forward. Troost-Ekong was out of position, completely misjudged it. And fair play to Walker. It was a first-time strike into the bottom left-hand corner. The technique was superb. Really well-taken finish, but disappointing for Watford. I think this is the maybe opposition in the future we're looking at, is can they threaten Watford aerially? Because at set pieces, we are a little bit sloppy. I think Vladimir Ivic knows it. He said in his post-match comments that we need to improve defensively. And he's right in that aspect. I think when I look at our back line, it's very solid. Often no one's really out of position in terms of it when we're in the line and we're trying to play teams offside. But it's when there's a ball in the air, and I think we just lack a little bit of organisation. And that goal kind of highlighted our frailties at the moment. Not massive problems, but it does need to be worked on, because if we're conceding one of those every couple of games, it's back-to-back games where we've had 2 similar goals, then clearly that's an area we need to improve on. And Troost-Ekong knows that. But what a way to reply from the corner from Jimmy Garner, swings it in, bullet header from Troost-Ekong. And you know what? He stepped up there. After the mistake, I know it was a great goal from Walker, but ultimately it came from his kind of misjudgment. To then reply at the other end with a brilliant header was the best reply we could have asked for within 2 minutes. And that's the big thing I'm seeing from this Watford side is we've got a lot of character. That's twice in a week where we've conceded and gone on to win the game. And in this situation, we were behind and went on to win the game. That is, and as I said before, I don't think our last 2 games have been brilliant performances, but mentally they've been fantastic. As I said, we want to be keeping clean sheets, but I back us more often than not to outscore teams. I think the quality we have further up the pitch in the final third, we've got Andre Gray, Ismail Assar, Troy Deeney, who looks incredibly good shape, Troy. Since the last time we saw him against Luton, I think he's lost probably a stone of weight. He looks really sharp. And I can't wait to see more of Troy. He looks good. But that's one to watch. But just as I was saying, I don't think we've played brilliantly in the last 2 games. There's been signs, and this is the thing under Vladimir Ivic, and I think he'll be wanting to have an international break because it gets Hughesy back in. Gray's had another 70 minutes or so. Troy's coming back into the fold. It's an exciting time to be a Watford fan, and we're second in the league. And I don't think we've come out of first gear really. That's the really exciting thing. And yeah, again today, the character we showed to go from behind and win the game was fantastic. And then obviously Ismail Assar, who I thought threatened, particularly in the second half. His pace is absolutely electric. And again, we saw today how threatening he can be. Played a brilliant ball through to Andre Gray in the second half, who should have scored. But Ismail won the penalty. He scored the penalty. I was surprised that Troy didn't step up and take it on his 400th appearance. When he came on, it was almost written that he'd score on that milestone. But Ivic has said after the game that Ismail Assar is the designated penalty taker, and he slotted it away. And I really like that about Vladimir Ivic. It's more the principle that this is how I want to play. This is the rules I set in place. you follow them. And fair play to Troy. You know, he could have easily made that moment, you know, on my 400th appearance, I want to score. But he didn't. He let Ismail Assar take it. I think that actually highlights the respect he has for Vladimirovic, that he didn't overrule it. And a great penalty from Ismail Assar. It's really interesting with his technique because he stares at the goalkeeper, which is a difficult penalty technique. Similar to Eden Hazard, actually, when he was at, well, he probably still does it now, but when he was at Chelsea, I remember he was very much staring at the goalkeeper, waiting for him to move away, and he just slotted it the other way, and it was a very composed penalty from Ismail Assar. And a big positive for me is the way we saw out the game, because at no point did I feel that we were under pressure, and at no point did I feel that we were losing control of the game, really. Coventry didn't threaten particularly from that moment onwards. They had a couple of clear-cut chances in the first half. I think they had a header which went just wide. I think they should have scored again in the second half. But just in that last, well, from Sar's goal to the end of the game, we saw the game out really well, and that's a big positive for me, and I'm sure Vladimirovic will be happy with that. But just in the grand scheme of things, well, I'd actually say my man of the match was probably Ken Sema again. I mean, that guy, he is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I've been so impressed with him this season. But just looking at the grand scheme of things with Watford, we're second in the league on goal difference. Looking at the fixtures we've got after the international break, it's QPR away, Bristol City away, Preston at home, Nottingham Forest away, and then Cardiff at home. That's our next 5 fixtures in the space of the 21st of November to the 5th of December. I mean, and then obviously we've got the Christmas period, which is just going to be absolutely chaotic. So important the win today. So important the 2 wins in the last week, the manner of the comebacks, and going on to win the games as well. Fantastic. Second in the league. We haven't really got out of first gear on the Vladimirovic. The signs there that we're going to do well this season. I think it's a good time. The international break has come at a good time because, as I said, we've got players coming back in, and it gives Vladimirovic more time. Just after the hectic pre-season we had with players coming in and out and him trying to implement his philosophy, this will only benefit him, to give him time to work with the players at his disposal. I know there'll be a few that will go on international duty, but he will be more than happy to work on the training ground and start to just keep implementing his philosophy and his ideas into this Watford squad, because it seems like from a fan's perspective, I can see the patterns of play that we're trying to create. I'm just not sure whether going forward it's what he wants it to be at the moment. Whether that's to do with the formation or not, I think it's irrelevant irrelevant to him, because I think he knows we can be better going forward. But I think we're so much better when teams open up. Actually, when Coventry got that goal, and in the second half they opened up, and we were really good. First half we struggled because, fair play to Coventry, they were in a low block, they were compact, not a lot of space in behind. Well, there was space in behind, we weren't really looking to use it, and it was very predictable. But in the second half we looked a real threat, and we were actually utilising the fullbacks a lot, the wing backs a lot more, and playing balls into in behind to Sarr and Gray, and midfielders were driving with the ball. That was encouraging for me. So yeah, overall, really happy with the second half performance. Not it was a bad performance in the first half. Just I thought we improved in the second half, but still waiting for that complete performance from Watford and under Vladimirovic, which I think is to come. But the fact we haven't had that complete performance, we're second in the league. I mean, it's pretty impressive, really. And I'm really excited for the games after the international break. Let's have a little look at your comments. Rudy, great win. Great seeing you in the chat, buddy. Make sure you guys do leave a like on the video. Ken Sema, what is going to be the Ken Sema chant? Someone's going to make one up. Tweet us at WD18fans on Twitter and Instagram. We have William says, do you think that Watford have the best squad in the league? I believe so, William. I think on paper we've got the best squad in the league, and I think every team knows that. It's just whether we can be consistent this season. Let's have a little look. Holly, once we have a full squad to pick from, how would you fit them all in? At the moment, I would want Semadini, Gray, Sarr, João Pedro, Capu, Hughes all playing, which wouldn't work. I mean, it's a brilliant dilemma for Vladimirovic, Holly, and I think, to be fair, that's why the likes of Wilmot were dropped today, because it's nothing against him, I don't think, but we've got a lot of depth in a lot of areas. And as you said, I mean, the quality of the names you've just listed is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But you need a deep squad in the Championship, and I wouldn't be that upset that these guys all didn't play. They will get their opportunity this season. It's just about managing them the best they can, and Vladimirovic will know that. He'll know that. I think that's the only problem maybe with the 5-3-2 is because you've got an extra defender in there, you lose a quality attacker. But at the same time, for the benefit of the team, that sometimes has to happen. But whether we continue with this formation throughout this season will be interesting to see. Let's have a look through your comments. Yeah, big result elsewhere. Reading losing 3-0 to Stoke City at home. I like to think we can we've kind of caught up with them now, which is brilliant. We'll have a few more comments. I don't want to record this for too long. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments, and I'll try and get back to you after the video. And don't forget to leave a like as well, subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WD18fans. We'll take two more. We will say VR presents. Me and my dad thinks we need a left-footed centre-back, fluidity at the back. Agree. I think that's a really interesting shout from you, mate. I think Ben Wilmot has done a brilliant job at left centre-back, particularly being a right-footed centre-back at left centre-back. It's difficult. It is really difficult to do that because you're always cutting inside onto your right foot, and when you're driving out with the ball, it's always on the left-hand side, which is difficult. I think that could make a difference for us. I remember someone told me we should bring back Miguel Britos, but I'm not sure about that one. Big up Britos though, what a man. But yeah, certainly that's something that Gino and Scott can consider in January, whether Vladimirovic needs it. A left back, well, he really wants a left back, doesn't he? I think he's made that pretty clear. I wouldn't be surprised if we do dip into the transfer market maybe in January for one of those sort of players. Nick, Kiko had his poorest game today. He's been so good. Ngaki was better when he came on. Yeah, I thought Kiko did struggle today. There was a couple of times where Cleverley was getting in good positions on that left channel and Kiko wasn't finding him, and you could tell he was getting frustrated. And there was even times Ken Sema was getting frustrated that he wasn't switching play. He just looked a little bit out of position. And there was often times where Ken would be further forward, which I think Ivic wants him to play the wing backs further forward. But Kiko would often be a little bit too deep, which meant Sarr was isolated going forward down the right-hand side. He needs to be further forward. I think Kiko's probably better in a back four, but Ngaki looked decent when he came on, and that will be a dilemma for Vladimirovic for the coming weeks. We'll take one more. Pete Mooney. Do you think the squad is ready to go straight back up the Premier League and survive? I think that's the aim, Pete. Whether we would, it's probably too early days. We need to get out the Championship first, but certainly the aim for Vladimirovic is to get straight back up to the Premier League and survive. Would this team be ready? I think we needed a few more players. As even when we went up against, when we went up under Slav, you know, we had a very good Championship squad, but there wasn't a lot of Premier League experience in there, and that was why we had to bring in the likes of Valon Barami, those sort of guys who knew the league and knew what it took to play well in the league. Capu, again, another player. So if we were going to get promoted, it's very early days, so I don't want to say that, but if we were going to get promoted, I think the way Gino and Scott run the football club is always looking ahead, and they'll know that we probably need to add some more players, more Premier League experienced players, or more, just those sort of players if we were going to go back up, because that's so important, particularly down the spine of the team. But that is where I'm going to wrap up this match reaction, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, as I said before, please do leave a like. Thank you very much for getting all your comments in. I will try and read through them after the video. If you're watching this back, not live, recorded, then do let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18. Turn on your post notifications if you haven't already. Twitter, Instagram at WD18fans, and we will see you very, very soon. Thank you very much, guys.